Right now, somewhere out there, a man is sitting beside a woman who just asked him something that sounded simple, almost meaningless, curious. He answered without thinking much about it, maybe gave a short reply or brushed it off like it didn't matter. What he has no idea about is that in that exact moment, she revealed everything. She placed the answer to her desire right in front of him, wrapped in the most ordinary words imaginable, and he completely missed it. Sighs? That man could easily be you, and after hearing this, it won't happen again. Here's a reality that might hit a little hard. When it comes to intimacy, women rarely say exactly what they mean. I know that might sound confusing, but it's the truth. Speaking not just from experience, but from years of observing how women communicate, desire is almost never expressed in a direct, obvious way. There's no dramatic moment, no clear confession, no cinematic scene where everything becomes obvious. Instead, it's quiet, subtle, so effortless that most men don't even notice it happening. Research published in communication monographs revealed that women rely on indirect communication nearly 70% more than men when it comes to emotionally sensitive topics. Think about that for a second. 70%. Curious. That means when a woman wants something deeper, something personal, something that makes her feel exposed, she's very unlikely to say it outright. Instead, she wraps it in safe, casual language. And if you're only listening to the surface, you'll completely miss what's really being said. Now, this is where things change. I'm not going to throw a long list of vague signals at you. No guessing games, no overcomplicated advice. Excited. There are two specific questions, just two. When a woman asks them, they mean something far deeper than they appear. And once you understand them, you'll start noticing them everywhere, even in moments from your past that suddenly make a lot more sense. But before getting into those questions, you need to understand why she communicates this way in the first place. Because once you grasp that, it changes how you interpret everything she says. From a very young age, most women are taught an unspoken rule. Don't be too direct. Don't come on too strong. Don't make the first move in an obvious way. Be warm, but not desperate. Show interest, but don't make it too clear. Sighs. It sounds exhausting, because it is. But it shapes how many women express themselves. Linguistics expert Deborah Tannen spent years studying communication patterns between men and women. One of her key insights was that women often use what's called rapport talk. This means communication is used to build connection, test emotional safety, and understand the other person before revealing too much. Men, on the other hand, tend to use report talk, focusing more on facts and direct answers. Thoughtful. So when a woman asks you something, she's usually not just asking for information. She's trying to feel something. She's checking if it's safe to open up further. This is why so many men feel confused when a woman suddenly becomes distant. From his perspective, everything seemed fine. She smiled, laughed, asked questions. But from her side, she reached out in the only way she felt safe doing. And he didn't meet her there. He treated those moments like casual conversation. And quietly, without any drama, she pulled back. Sighs. Now that you understand that foundation, let's talk about the first question. And when you hear it, you might be surprised by how simple it sounds. Curious. The first question is, what are you thinking right now? It sounds basic, almost insignificant. That's exactly why it gets ignored. But when she asks this, she's not just making conversation. Thoughtful. She's trying to step into your inner world. She's asking for access to your thoughts in that exact moment because she wants to feel closer to you. Relationship researcher John Gottman describes moments like this as emotional bids. These are small attempts to connect, a glance, a touch, a question. Curious. His research found that couples who respond positively to these bids stay together at much higher rates than those who ignore them. So when she asks, "What's on your mind?" she's reaching toward you. And your response matters more than you think. If you brush it off or give a dull answer, it doesn't feel neutral to her. Sighs. It feels like distance, a small disconnect that builds over time. For many women, emotional closeness comes before physical closeness. It's not just a preference, it's how attraction develops. Thoughtful studies in the archives of sexual behavior show that emotional connection plays a major role in female desire. Feeling understood, seen, and valued creates the foundation for everything else. So when she asks that question, she's really asking something deeper. Curious. Can I come closer to you? Can I trust you with what's inside your mind? Are you present with me right now? If your answer shows openness, something shifts inside her. A barrier softens. She feels a step closer to you, not just emotionally, but in a way that can grow into something more. So next time you hear that question, don't avoid it. Don't turn it into a joke. Just be real. It doesn't need to be perfect. What matters is that you let her in. Sincere. But that's only half of it. There's another question she asks, and it's even easier to miss because it sounds even more ordinary. Thoughtful. The second question is, are you tired? It seems harmless, like she's just checking on you. And sometimes that's true. But in certain moments, especially late at night or after spending meaningful time together, it carries a completely different meaning. Curious. What she's really asking is whether you're available, whether you have the energy to stay present with her, or if the moment is about to end. Sighs. The way it's phrased gives her an easy way out. If you say you're tired, everything stays safe. No awkwardness, no rejection. But if you say you're not, you're opening the door for whatever comes next. Imagine this clearly. You've spent hours together. The vibe is good. There's laughter, connection, subtle touches. Then she quietly asks if you're tired. Curious. If you say yes, the night ends politely. Nothing wrong with that, but something unspoken fades away. Sighs. If you say no and you mean it, you're telling her you're present. You're not rushing away, you're open to continuing the moment. And that changes everything. Studies from the Kinsey Institute show that one of the biggest barriers to intimacy for women isn't lack of attraction. It's feeling that the other person isn't fully there, not emotionally, not physically. Thoughtful. That's why this question matters so much. It's her way of checking without risking rejection. Pause. And timing matters. She won't ask it randomly. It comes in those quiet, charged moments when things could go either way. When the connection is there, but she needs to know if you feel it too. If both of these questions are missed, something subtle happens. She doesn't argue or make it obvious. She just takes note. Thoughtful. She starts to see you as someone who isn't fully tuned in, and slowly she pulls back. Therapist Sue Johnson describes this pattern as a cycle where one person reaches out, and when that effort isn't met, they eventually stop trying. Not because they don't care, but because they feel unseen. Sighs. These two questions are often the last quiet attempts before that shift begins. So how should you respond? It's simpler than most people expect. Curious. When she asks what you're thinking, give her something honest. It doesn't need to be deep or impressive, just real. Something that shows you're present with her. Sincere. When she asks if you're tired and the moment feels right, let your answer reflect that you're still there, that you're not checking out of the moment. That's it. No complicated lines, no strategies, just presence and awareness. Thoughtful. Women aren't impossible to understand. They're careful with how they express vulnerability. These questions aren't random. They're thoughtful, intentional ways of reaching out without risking too much. Curious. And now that you recognize them, your role isn't to manipulate or overthink. It's to pay attention, to listen beyond the surface. Women aren't impossible to understand. Thoughtful. They're careful with how they express vulnerability. These questions aren't random. They're thoughtful, intentional ways of reaching out without risking too much. And now that you recognize them, your role isn't to manipulate or overthink. Thoughtful. It's to pay attention, to listen beyond the surface. Because when you respond with genuine presence, you're not just answering a question. You're showing her that she's safe to open up. And for a woman, that sense of safety is where everything begins. Thoughtful. If this changed the way you see things even a little, drop the word signal in the comments. Just that one word. It shows you really understood what was shared here. Curious. And before you go, remember this. Questions are only one part of the picture. There are also physical signals that reveal interest just as clearly. There are 3 specific places that, if she's comfortable with you touching them, say more than words ever could. There's a full breakdown of that in another video on your screen right now titled, "If She Lets You Touch These 3 Places, She Wants You." Curious? Watch it next, because combining that with what you just learned will completely change how you understand her signals.